do you think has prevented until now the signing of more hosted payloads, or what do you see as challenges there?
I think clearly we have a budgetary process to overcome. Using maintenance budgets or using supplemental budgets rather than having a line item in future budgets where we can fund every year has been the inhibitor. The difference we had with the Australians is they were able to buy the entire payload for the life of the satellite. I might add that they're working with the Department of Defense for some of that capacity. So it is primarily a procurement problem, but there are always those that have done things a certain way, and it's about overcoming that. And I know in the last 6+ years that I've been at Intelsat, I have seen a pretty dramatic shift where there's an openness to consider hosted payloads in ways I had never seen back in 2005. And I think it's just about education and making sure there's comfort from customers that we can deliver for them and do it properly and have proof that we can implement what they need. And I think we're doing that all the time.
I think there has been a big shift in the last few years. This was an opportunistic sort of situation many years ago, and payloads have gotten onto satellites. Unfortunately, it's still a fairly opportunistic environment right now, which fits fine if you're launching a satellite or two every couple years. You can kind of get on the right train at the right time. But the process and windows by which the payload or sensor comes together with a system that's launching and put it all together is a fairly narrow window as it's currently constructed. You mentioned that, what about the operational issues and both for the operator and for the payload provider? In the 5 years we've been working this, frankly, none of those have come to fore as being very important or unworkable. Everything's workable. I think the real issue, as Dave mentioned, is that this is a strange new way of doing business for most people. It's being supported, I think, by intent. People would like to do it. I don't think that the processes and systems and structures of our procurement processes have come together to really work out the details. I'm pleased to see how strongly attended and how much interest there was yesterday in the new Hosted Payload Alliance. We think that'll be a powerful thing in the future. I understand there was quite a lot of energy and enthusiasm around that, and we welcome more of that. I think we're kind of breaking new ground, but frankly, until this permeates, I'm afraid that at normal course and events, this is going to be a big thing in about 10 years, not as it should be in the next 2 or 3. And it just takes that long for the processes of the organizations that want to do this to get serious about it and save money and do things in a different way. We'll have payloads on our satellites. Probably won't fill up every slot as it will be, which is unfortunate because it's a real strategic asset that I think we're going to miss the opportunity to fully exploit this time around. But in 2027, when we launch our next network, I'm sure we'll have this all together and we'll take a lot more payloads.
A big flight we have coming up this summer is going to be for SES with their SES-2 satellite, and it's got the commercially hosted infrared payload on board, a satellite built by Orbital Sciences with a sensor, a test sensor, IR sensor built by SAIC that's going to be on board that spacecraft. So we're looking forward to launching that hosted payload. We're pioneered in the area of hosted payload missions. Goes back to 2005, where we launched a Galaxy 15 spacecraft, again, for a company that was now part of Dave's satellite empire over there, it was for PanAmSat at the time. And that was for the wide area augmentation system for the FAA. So we're very pleased to pioneer this area of hosted payloads, and we see a lot of growth, and hopefully we'll be doing more launches in that area for our good customers that you see here on the panel.
As far as hosted payloads are concerned, I think we're also in a strong position. Each of our 3 generations of satellites has a hosted payload on them today, and we are talking to people now about hosted payloads on the I-5s as well. So we think this is, as Dave has said, a low-cost way for people to get payloads up there in a very efficient way and a very reliable way as well. So we're very, very supportive of that movement as well.